Moby Dick, written by Herman Melville and first published in 1851, is one of the most complex and ambitious novels in American literature. At once an adventure tale, a philosophical meditation, and a detailed account of the 19th century whaling industry, Moby Dick explores obsession, fate, humanity's struggle against nature, and the search for meaning in an indifferent universe. Through the voice of its narrator, Ishmael, the novel follows a doomed voyage aboard the whaling ship Pequod, led by the mysterious and fanatical Captain Ahab. The novel famously opens with the line, "Call me Ishmael." Restless, depressed, and drawn to the sea as a cure for his discontent, Ishmael decides to join a whaling voyage. He views the ocean as both a physical and spiritual escape from the constraints of land-bound life. Before boarding a ship, Ishmael stays at the Spouter Inn, where he meets Queequeg, a tattooed harpooner from the South Seas. Though initially frightened by Queequeg's appearance and customs, Ishmael soon discovers his kindness, intelligence, and honor. The two form a close friendship, symbolizing Melville's belief in human connection across cultural boundaries. Together, they sign on to a whaling ship called the Pequod, captained by a man named Ahab. The Pequod is introduced as a weathered but powerful vessel, outfitted for a long and dangerous voyage. Its crew is diverse, composed of sailors from many nations and cultures, reflecting the global nature of the whaling industry. At first, Captain Ahab remains unseen, heightening his mystery. When he finally appears, Ishmael describes him as a tall, scarred man with a grim presence and an ivory leg carved from a whale's jawbone. Ahab lost his leg in a previous encounter with a massive white whale known as Moby Dick. Ahab soon reveals the true purpose of the voyage. Rather than hunting whales for oil and profit, he intends to hunt down Moby Dick and take revenge. He nails a gold doubloon to the mast and promises it to the man who first sights the white whale. This moment binds the crew to Ahab's obsession, willingly or not. Captain Ahab dominates the novel as a figure of terrifying intensity. He is intelligent, charismatic, and utterly consumed by his desire for revenge. To Ahab, Moby Dick is not merely an animal, but a symbol of all the evil and cruelty in the universe. He believes the whale has malicious intent and represents an enemy that must be destroyed. This obsession isolates Ahab from reason, morality, and even self-preservation. While some crew members, particularly the first mate Starbuck, question Ahab's sanity and the morality of his quest, they ultimately submit to his authority. Starbuck, a religious and cautious man, represents conscience and reason, but he lacks the strength to oppose Ahab fully. Much of Moby Dick is devoted to detailed descriptions of whaling life, anatomy, tools, and customs. These chapters, often called encyclopedic, reflect Melville's fascination with the industry and his desire to capture the whaling world in its entirety. Melville blends scientific observation with poetic reflection, using whales as symbols of mystery, power, and the unknowable. The sea itself becomes a vast, indifferent force, beautiful and terrifying at once. Throughout the voyage, the Pequod encounters other ships, known as gams. These meetings serve as ominous foreshadowing, as many captains warn Ahab of the dangers of pursuing Moby Dick. Each warning is ignored, reinforcing the theme of fate and the inevitability of tragedy. Moby Dick is rarely seen, but constantly present in the narrative as a looming force. The whale's whiteness becomes a central symbol in the novel. Ishmael reflects on the color white as representing purity, terror, emptiness, and the unknown. To some, white signifies innocence. To others, it evokes fear and annihilation. The ambiguity of Moby Dick's nature raises profound philosophical questions. Is the whale truly evil, or is Ahab projecting his own rage onto a neutral force of nature? Melville leaves this question unresolved, forcing readers to confront the limits of human understanding. Throughout the novel, Melville weaves in themes of fate, prophecy, and predestination. The mysterious sailor Fedallah, Ahab's shadowy companion, speaks in cryptic riddles and predicts the circumstances of Ahab's death. These prophecies suggest that the voyage is guided by forces beyond human control. Ahab himself seems aware of his doom but presses forward regardless. He believes he is bound to his fate and embraces destruction as the price of defiance against the universe. After months at sea, the Pequod finally encounters Moby Dick. The confrontation unfolds over 3 days of relentless pursuit. The whale proves to be immense, intelligent, and destructive, smashing boats and killing crew members. On the first day, Ahab is injured but refuses to retreat. On the second day, the whale causes further devastation. By the third day, Ahab is entirely consumed by his obsession, shouting defiance at the whale and the sea itself. In the final moment, Ahab hurls his harpoon at Moby Dick, only to become entangled in the line and dragged into the ocean. The Pequod is destroyed, and the entire crew perishes, except for Ishmael. Ishmael survives by clinging to Queequeg's coffin, which had earlier been constructed as a life buoy. Floating alone on the sea, Ishmael is rescued by another ship, the Rachel, which has been searching for its lost crew. Ishmael's survival is deeply symbolic. As the novel's observer and storyteller, he represents the voice of reflection and humility. Unlike Ahab, Ishmael does not seek to conquer the universe. He seeks to understand it. Moby Dick explores several enduring themes. Obsession is central, embodied in Ahab's monomaniacal pursuit of the whale. Humanity versus nature is examined through the whaling industry and the ocean's indifference. Fate and free will are intertwined, raising questions about whether humans control their destinies or are merely acting out pre-written roles. The novel also explores knowledge and perception, suggesting that reality is shaped by interpretation. Moby Dick means different things to different characters, reflecting the subjective nature of truth. Initially misunderstood and criticized, Moby Dick is now regarded as a masterpiece of American literature. Its unconventional structure, blending narrative, philosophy, and scientific detail, challenged traditional storytelling. Melville's language is rich, symbolic, and often biblical in tone, elevating the novel beyond simple adventure. The character of Captain Ahab has become an enduring symbol of destructive obsession, while the white whale remains one of literature's most powerful metaphors. Moby Dick is not merely a story about a whale, it is a profound exploration of the human condition. Through the doomed voyage of the Pequod, Herman Melville examines humanity's desire to impose meaning on a vast and indifferent universe. The novel warns of the dangers of obsession and arrogance, while also celebrating curiosity, diversity, and the enduring power of storytelling. More than a century after its publication, Moby Dick continues to challenge, inspire, and provoke readers, standing as a testament to the depth and ambition of American literature. Thank you for watching. Your support helps this channel grow. Please like the video, subscribe, and comment your favorite book so I know what to summarize next.